Oh my God, you guys, come in here and shut the door with so much bad things happening. You know, one thing that is happening? Wendy Williams is one step closer to freedom. She is getting the jury trial. The judge is losing control. Sabrina Peterson is probably thinking about moving to Canada because, baby, when the ish hits the fan, she is going to be the main person. On top of that, it's pretty much confirmed that Charlemagne the God is the one that spearheaded this whole movement to free Wendy. You guys, where do we start? First of all, how about this? This is no free Britney because Britney had to be in the conservatorship for like what, 6, 8, 12 years. There are two protests right now planned to show public support and to show the courts that if they think they are going to sideline Wendy and get her into situations that no longer serve her, they have another thing coming. Thanks so much for Buzzworthy TV for sending this. Really quick, you guys, there is a free Wendy Williams peaceful protest April 1st, 2025 at 10 a.m. Registration is at 9 a.m. at Bella Abzug, ABZUG Park. That is 542 West 26th Street in New York City. They have parking locations 35th Street and 10th Ave, and the hotel is at the, you can, Marriott Courtyard is like the official hotel, I guess. Marriott better not be getting any promotion out of this. On top of that, if you are in Los Angeles, there is a free Wendy Williams peace protest in Los Angeles, April 1st as well, 6533 Hollywood Boulevard, Los Angeles, California at 7 a.m. I know that's right. They are going to do a coordinated effort to show everybody how much Wendy matters. And if they think that they are going to sideline her or do something fishy, baby, the world is watching. And if the world's not watching, at least New York and LA is. And baby, in in America, that's half the world. Anyway, let's get into this. How Wendy is super excited, and they are saying that the judge and guardian is going out of their minds. They've officially lost control. There are too many eyes on this case. This is thanks to Charlemagne. I know. And also, he put her in touch with Gina, who is part of an adult rights service for, well, Wendy don't want to be called the senior, but for seniors, and they actually put this out. There is a current investigation right now with Adult Protective Services. They're saying Wendy Williams is excited that a trial by jury will soon decide her fate. She said it's a crime to keep somebody isolated. Now, let me just say this. They're isolating Wendy because after that production company with the Wendy Williams show got her incapacitated and the bank took over, and everybody was like, oh my God, she has severe cognitive impairment. That means she doesn't even know what planet she's on. That means that she's just like worse than a vegetable. Let me say this. There could have been some truth to the claims of some type of financial exploitation. There could have been truth to the claim that people were taking advantage of Wendy. However, you realize it's not illegal. And if you want to, it is your God given right. If I want to spend my whole fortune on wacky weed, if I want to spend it on Colombian dancing dust, if I want to spend it on EK or whatever new concoction they have out of there, if I want to spend my money on cigarettes, liquor, and loose men. That is my right. That is my right. You cannot tell me how to spend my money. The only time you can stop me is if I don't even know what earth I am on, right? I like literally, I am a danger to myself or other people. And I'm just like sitting there while people are just robbing me and treating me horribly. What they did by putting in this conservatorship, this guardianship, I'm sure people realize was a gross overstep. Wendy, a drug addict is allowed to snort up all their money. An alcoholic is allowed to drink their money away. If it wasn't, then half the people in Hollywood would be in some type of guardianship. Anyway, the judge and the guardian thought they had her. They were like, we'll be the ones to decide that. Wendy was like, no, I want a new trial. And the judge was like, all right, I'll sit, come in front of my case and I'll see what you think. Wendy's new lawyer was like, excuse me, we want a jury trial because in a regular jury trial, the jury decides fact and the judge decides law. So what does that look like? The jury will decide, right? Sabrina's saying that Wendy is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? Wendy's saying she's not. They both submit evidence in front of the jury, and the jury decides, is Wendy cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? Once they make that decision about whether she is physically, mentally impaired to the point of incapacitation, yes or no, then the judge takes their ruling and applies the law. If Wendy is deemed she is fit and she does not need a guardian, what does that mean? It means that that is the finding of fact. The judge has to take that fact, can't give her own opinion. Wendy is sane enough to manage her own finances, and then she applies the law. If you're sane enough to match your own finances, then you don't need a guardian, and I must release the guardian. If they find out that she is incapacitated, right? Then that means the judge is like, okay, this is decided as a fact. However, prior to this, there was no jury at all. So that means the judge was the jury. So the judge would be like, I think that it's true that she is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and I'm going to do this. When in the past, Wendy was like, yo, give me a jury trial. I want a jury trial now. The judge was like, first of all, literally said in emails that Wendy's lawyer released, I don't like Wendy's attitude and these little tricks she's doing. How does a black woman have an attitude about being free? Okay. Then she's like, I don't like your attitude. You need to go work on something else. Wendy was like, mm-hmm. She kept pushing. Then the judge was saying, well, she better stop her little tricks or she's not getting that jury trial. It's not the judge's decision whether you get a jury trial or not. That is a constitutional right in the US. And yes, constitutional rights still mean something in the US, right? That is a constitutional right. The fact that the judge acted like she had control over whether Wendy could exercise one of the fundamental principles of the American Constitution, you knew the judge went too fast. Now, on top of that, one of the reasons the judge said Wendy shouldn't get a jury trial is because Wendy is a beloved public figure and it's going to be easy for any jury to be swayed with her, especially a jury in New York area. And I say, well, baby, that's what you get messing with Wendy Williams. You should have picked somebody less popular to run your little scam on. Anyway, right? Wendy said this is something that she's been wanting to say and she just can't wait to get her story out. The judge also, every time Wendy opened her mouth and Sabrina, they would put her more and more in isolation. Now Wendy can get her whole story out and she wants this trial to be a public trial. Wendy's healthcare advocate, Gina Lisa Monteroso, says tells people that the former talk show host is excited for a jury to determine if her guardianship should be terminated. Gina Lisa Monteroso claims Wendy Williams passed the mental capacity exams during her hospital visit on March 10th, added, she was alert and oriented, and we were satisfied with that. Wendy has been outspoken about her desire to end the guardianship. Let's get a little bit more into this. Um, Wendy's excited for a jury, not the judge, to determine if her guardianship should be terminated following additional mental competency testing. They said this is something that she's been wanting to say, and she just can't wait to get her story out. Monterosa says Wendy has been wanting to clear the air by about being mentally capacitated, and at the end of the day, she's going to have a trial by jury, and it will be the jury, not the judge, making that decision, or Sabrina, or any of their other things. She knows that the trial, which has not been yet scheduled, will follow additional testing from an independent neurologist. If you guys don't remember, Sabrina Carpenter, that's Wendy, well, sorry, Sabrina Carpenter, Sabrina Peterson or whatever, has been doing her best to make sure that Wendy is only diagnosed with this, people. But it makes you wonder, if Wendy is as sick as you say, it's like if I say I have a broken arm. It doesn't matter whether I go to the hospital down the street, the hospital in another country, the hospital in another state. At the end of the day, my arm's broken. So when you say that somebody is incompetent, a doctor can't just make up things and results should be able to be replicated. You feel what I'm saying? Listen, they said that the healthcare advocate also explains her decision to call 911 and write a letter to Adult Protective Social Services on March 10th, which led to authorities responding to Wendy Williams' assisted living facility for a welfare check. She was then escorted out by the building, you guys remember, and an EMS transported her in an ambulance to the local hospital. I think it was Lenox Hill Hospital for evaluation. Okay. They said it was just more of a strategic move to just kind of get more evidence because this case has been stuck. She adds the decision to transport by ambulance was made because they could at least do a short mini assessment at the hospital and have some documentation from somebody else outside of the guardianship that can attest. Woo! Wendy passed everything with flying colors. Now, a lot of people are saying, okay, well, where did they even get this whole thing that Wendy was incapacitated? Well, Miss Gina Lisa, Gina for short, that is the woman that Charlemagne hooked up with Wendy, has actually responded. She said, when asked about Wendy's 2023 diagnosis of primary aggressive aphasia and frontal temporal dementia, she explains, well, there's different stages of FTD, and we don't even know if it was actually FTD because Wendy did drink a lot of alcohol, and FTD and alcohol dementia are very similar. Now, I've already contested from the beginning. If you guys, I did lives about this 2 years ago when we clocked this mess from the beginning and even predicted how it was going to end. All right. Tattletales, we did it. But I've said from the beginning, I find it odd that they were so happy to let Wendy be in a drunken stupor for most of that time because I actually did think it was a plot to actually say that she had some type of dementia, even though it was alcohol induced. She knows that alcohol dementia is reversible, saying you just stop drinking. FTD is very progressive. And so, if they're saying that she had this back in 2023, you would see a decline. You would see something as far as her speech, as far as her thinking, as far as her messaging, and there will be a big indication at this point that something is very wrong. However, here you didn't see it. She hopes by making a decision to call authorities about Wendy Williams' case that it will bring awareness to the public that this is a very serious issue and it is a crime to keep somebody isolated. She echoed Wendy's claims that she was not incapacitated and amid her continued fight to end her guardianship, Wendy said, I'm fabulous. I'm better than good, but I've been accused of being otherwise. She said, I am very much alive. I deserve freedom, darling. Woo! Listen, during her interview, she said that the most important thing was her passing her competency test. She went on to say, I am not cognitively impaired, but I feel like I'm in prison. Woo! She said, I'm in this place with people who are in their 90s and their 80s and their 70s. These people, there's something wrong with these people here on this floor. I'm clearly not. You know, Wendy just wants somebody. You know, Wendy is always single and ready to mingle. You know, she put on those poom poom shorts and those high top ear dunks and was walking around looking to see if her milkshake could bring boys to the yard, saying, who likes the alphabet? Who's a fan of the capital P? Put your hand up, right? There's a lot of alphabet aficionados around Wendy. And basically, she probably found out, like, and even nobody she could do the electric slide with. That's where Sabina Peterson went wrong. You ain't had nobody fine enough to distract Wendy. But all jokes aside, shout out to Wendy. We are going to be covering this trial, of course. Sabrina, the guardian, and that judge, you better count your MFing days, baby, because the legal system is coming for you. And you know what? Shout out to Wendy. Hurry up, get well, because I want to hear Wendy's take on what's going on with Diddy. Because, baby, I know she got stories to tell. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.